You have tuned in to another episode of What's Happening San Diego. I'm Laura Jane, your hostess, and we have a great band with us here in the studio today. Which studio? Why, Thunderbird Analog Recording Studio in charming South Oceanside, California, where dreams really do come true. All right, but today, seriously, these women are part of quite a project. My eyes are open, my jaw is on the ground. They're called OrchidxMantis, and before we talk to Caitlin and Nina, we are going to listen to a song that they've created with Isaac Crow and Harley Magsino called Day by Day. All right, this is Day by Day by OrchidxMantis.
Day by day, I get so intoxicating. Day by day, no vocabulary say. Day by day, people grind me down. Day by day, I don't make a sound. Intoxicating alcohol, falling doesn't hurt at all, fading doesn't hurt at all, yeah. intoxicating.
right, well done, ladies. So how did Day by Day come together, and what's it all about, Alfie?
So when we first started, we were literally an acoustic ensemble, which is crazy to think of nowadays.
It is, because it's such an electronic project.
Yes.
And so the lyrical content was written by Isaac Crow. Everything was written by Isaac Crow. And so you'd have to ask him what the genesis of that was. But it used to be a totally acoustic ensemble. We had a string quartet, upright bass, drum set, and solo voice. And over time, that evolved into the cyborg effect that we have today. In fact, even his drum kit is a total cyborg drum kit. He's got E-drums that are interspersed within the acoustic setup. I'm on vocoder now and singing through that. But we still have the beautiful caramel, robust cello, of course, by Miss Kaylin.
So how did you ladies meet?
Well, we met through Isaac. Isaac and Nina went to school together.
Oh.
And
Isaac's your husband.
Isaac is my husband, yes.
Caitlin's husband.
Yes. And
Isaac started as a bass major.
no, drum major.
He was a drum major, but then he switched halfway through to upright bass or something.
Well, I think with your master's program, you're required to take a secondary instrument. So
he and I would be leaving the practice rooms, like the janitor would come by at like 2 a.m. and be like, you guys have to go now. And he'd be down, so I'd be up in the piano rooms on the second floor, and then his rooms were in the basement. I don't think we ever even addressed each other. We just left campus at the same time. But I was always a huge fan of his, what would then be his to-be wife, Caitlin Faye Crow. And she is a cellist with the La Jolla Chamber Symphony and Chorus. And she has this really cool hair, and she like wear braids across the top. And I'd go to the symphony, and I'd be like, who is this like rad styling girl? And like always killing kicks, like never would I imagine that I'd be in a band with that girl someday. So
Yes.
that's how
and we're now neighbors. So
Roller skating distance.
when we moved to North Park, that's kind of how the band came to be, because we literally live in spitting distance of each other. So now we
Stone's
can,
throw.
All four
Now
of
we
you?
can all, all four of us.
Well, obviously you probably
yes, of course.
cohabitate
We
with
cohabitate,
Isaac.
and then both Harley and Nina live within a couple minutes of us. So that makes it very easy to get together to rehearse. And
Yeah, that was one of my favorite projects I was involved with, was an original project with the guy that lived literally behind the alley from me. So it was so easy to write. We could just, spend whole afternoons together so easily, just walk, 100 feet and bam, I'm in that living room again.
yeah, I think that's the hardest part of getting a project off the ground, honestly, is coordinating people's schedules. Like everyone, because we're all working musicians, we all happen to just be trying to do this as our living, and we don't have a day job to speak of. So I think that's one of the reasons why we didn't play together before, don't you think? Like,
Probably
we're
just
too-
like not figuring
ships
out
passing
the
in the
balance.
night.
Even today, like all the musicians, at least in our city, that's the only ones I can speak for, tend to teach, gig, direct to some capacity, whether that's a paid thing or an unpaid thing. But and how else would you get hustle? Or they have a side job. Like there's some people that do like upholstery or like whatever it is. And so back in the day, it's figuring out that balance. And we are all still trying to craft that balance. But being in such close proximity to each other, I can't tell you how many times a day me and Isaac, he's like, I wrote this new thing. I just need 5 minutes of your time. Like 5 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, like I might on my way back to the house, or like, oh man, I'm beat, but like, yeah, for sure, let's like put another half an hour in like at 11 p.m. It's really nice when you only have to go 500 more feet after that
to get back to your own house.
Yes.
So the burn is pretty easy.
Yeah. Or in the morning, we'll bribe you with coffee.
He'll be like,
Coffee and eggs.
Yeah.
I can be bribed with coffee and eggs, for sure.
Yeah.
So this project is so interesting to me. I had never heard of you before. I did a little bit of investigating before this podcast because Elkin finds the coolest acts for these podcasts, and I was just like blown away when I saw your videos.
Oh, thank you.
Ladies, you're comic geniuses as well as being, like awesome musicians.
Thank you.
Holy Schmidt. It's fantastic. I'm so pleased. So do you do stand-up as well, or have you considered it?
We don't.
No, this has all been, we all have this philosophy as being, I think, I'm going to speak for the band. Humbly, I speak for the band. But we are all servants to the muses. And who knows sometimes why you get an idea in your head. But you have to honor that. Like, if it's a real divine moment, I hate to... Okay, but Isaac got some like serious on-tap communications with those muses, and in order to honor that, we do whatever it is. And since our first band rehearsal as OrchidxMantis, there was this notion of like, what's our style? How do we, like any band comes up, like, do we all wear like black? Or like, what if we like called ourselves this? You would go to the identity thing. And our identity, it was originally us, but like plus like 35% more. And that's just increased over time to where we're reaching like the far ends of our own psyche. And some of those parts of us needed to get ratchet, I think, or something. Well, I don't know. I can't explain it. It's beyond me.
I've been watching a lot of RuPaul's Drag Race lately. I know I'm kind of like late to the party. I know this is a thing that's been on since like 2009, but I feel like there's this amazing quote, and he says, "We're all born naked, the rest is just drag." And I kind of think of myself as like an introverted person, and I'm a Suzuki teacher. I work with like mostly children in the 3 to 7 range, and I try to be like this very great role model for them, and this exemplary human and great musician and all of these things, and I believe very strongly in that. So I feel like this is a great kind of drag moment for me to be like, I get to be an introvert playing an extroverted character and kind of discover so it's sort
you're
of like
hilarious.
Thank
woman.
you. So trying to be, I'm sort of thinking, I'm not sure, like Jewish grandmother meets Lucille Ball meets
It's so
white
funny.
rapper. I don't know.
I was saying earlier, we were all kind of raised pretty straight-laced. And so we didn't get to do a lot of like the bad kid stuff that movies are made of, like Stand By Me. Like, just like we didn't get to do that. And so I remember being like even 18 when people are like supposed to be grown up. I was still like in my room at my folks' place going to college and like hiding that I was watching Y Tu Mama Tambien, like, and so I think those deep rooted like influences, like, Naked Lunch, like we went hard, like just because like in our art forms, that's where you could experience like the real, I'm gonna say it, the real shit.
But don't you also feel like, I mean, for the other two, maybe not so much, but like we're both classically trained.
Yes.
And from a very early age. And I think in the classical world too, that's I love it. And it's my roots, but it's very
structured.
It's very structured, and there's just, you learn this repertoire before you learn this repertoire, and there's like a very narrow definition of what it means to be good, what it means to be successful. So I think just this project is also liberating in that way. We can be creative in a totally different way, and no one's giving us permission. We're just doing it. So yeah, I think that has something to do with it too.
Well, it's fascinating, and I'm thrilled that you're continuing on with this project. Do you have an album planned? Do the songs come from an album, or do you release them as singles, or?
We had a first album release on October
27th of last year.
Okay. That was our first album, and that one.
And what was that called? That album?
It was eponymous, right? We just called it OrchidxMantis.
It's just OrchidxMantis. We released it mainly on cassette, which is maybe why y'all haven't heard it yet.
We really wanted to.
We really wanted to release it on cassette, and we figured if people really wanted to hear it, they'd go online and download it. And we got a cassette player in the studio.
Yes.
And that was the album that was really based in love and loss. But Isaac, he works in music like people do in like the fashion industry. He's like, all right, spring season is next year, but that's yesterday's news. Like, we're already on to summer.
The new cycle. Yes.
So always on to the next thing and make it work. Fashion Week is next week. Get it done. And the catharsis of the art is still present, but the trajectory is constant. And that's absolutely another great reason why we live near each other, because he is constantly working.
That's wonderful to have that kind of leadership, and that kind of vision to, and you're both obviously on board. You're like, all right then, we're going to swear? Yes, we are.
We're going to try
We're going to do costumes? Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to have videos? Yes. We're going to enter a contest on NPR. So tell me, who came up with the idea to enter the contest? What's it called? The Little Desk?
Tiny Desk contest.
Desk
that was my idea. I've been a longtime fan. It's NPR's All Music Considered. Bob Boylan is this guy who is just kind of on a quest to always discover the most interesting, but people who aren't signed, people who are, just kind of doing their thing in a very unique way. So he goes to all of the fringe festivals, and I think South by Southwest is not fringe enough for him anymore. Just things like that. He goes, he's really interested in finding the most interesting acts to then come to their headquarters in Washington, D.C. and play behind the tiny desk. And so they always have to make it work in this very small space. They do have a recording engineer, a sound engineer, but it's always within the confines of this little office cubicle, basically. And for the past 3 years, they've held a contest to discover someone who then gets to play behind the desk, and then it's sponsored by a brewing company. So then, the brewing company kind of puts on a tour, and you go to, 6 or 7 different cities, I think, if you win. So there are many entries. Last year there were 6,000 entries, and they choose one. And this year I haven't even combed through all of them. I don't even know, probably more than 6,000. So it's
all different styles.
It runs
I think
spans
that's
the gamut.
The best thing about the Tiny Desk concert, and to me, NPR in general, is they really don't care about genre. They're above that. They're just all. We just want to have a good representation of
all music.
What is the public's music, the public's inner voice, and I think that's what Tiny Desk is inspiring. That you could see anything from pirate music to one of our favorite entries this year is about peach scones, and it's just
peach scones. It's like this. It's like screamo riff on peach scones, and they filmed it in their backyard. It's amazing.
My goodness, I am always disappointed when I get a scone.
I was just thinking of one other thing with the Tiny Desk. We did have to choose one genre to click on our entry form of
what did you pick?
How do we define ourselves? And we hemmed and hawed, and ultimately we did pick jazz, even though I don't think that necessarily encompasses everything that we do, but it was the closest thing, because it's not pure pop, it's not pure electronica, it's definitely not classical, even though it has some of that. And we call ourselves kind of third stream-ish. There's an intersection of jazz and classical, and then of course there's Nina with her kind of vocal training that can range from operatic to very kind of smoky gospel, and
or just rapping hard.
What's the thing that you sing into? What is
It's a vocoder. That's the Roland
so
JDXI.
cool.
I had been playing vocoders for years. If you don't know what a vocoder is, basically you sing through a microphone. That microphone is then basically filtered through the frequencies that you're playing in your hands and on a keyboard. So those two mechanisms are attached. And so whatever notes that I play on my keyboard, I then have kind of my little robot, quadruplet
Those are
version
all
of
refracted,
myself.
right?
And so I can control my own little choir, my own little robot choir through my fingers. That's kind of how I think of it. And
I like robot choirs.
Yeah, it's cool.
I want
it's
one.
very cool.
Being that we started with a string quartet in our original lineup, when we decided, we're going to be playing in at the Till 2 Club, they can't bring their, $8,000. It was too dangerous in a way.
The logistics and then again, a scheduling thing. Finding 4 available players to come and do a nighttime gig.
When everybody's
I'm
working
in a
on
7-piece band.
Yeah.
I feel your pain.
yeah.
Yes.
Even our violist got hired for the Honolulu Symphony. And
So then she left.
So she left. What are you gonna do? So we ended up with this hole in our sound, and that's where the vocoder came in. So now even though I'd been playing vocoder before, now I think of it almost like a string orchestra or something too. But I think it's really interesting that we decided to put our genre as jazz. Jazz.
Well, Isaac's rhythms are so jazzy.
Definitely,
I mean,
yes.
It's experimental jazz or
I would say
or
so,
modern
maybe.
jazz
Yeah.
or whatever. But I remember like jazz was real kind of, accessible to everyone, and then it got really weird.
Yeah.
And people were just taking it in all these different directions, and his rhythm structures really remind me of that early experimental jazz in the 50s or 40s or whenever it started happening. And then the electronica on top of it is just great, and your bassist is phenomenal.
He's really good. Yeah.
Wow.
Really creative. And there is an improvisatory quality for sure. We do have sometimes open sections, especially if we're playing live and we need to fill time or we're just getting a good vibe from the crowd. There's a good energy and we want to keep it going.
Don't you love
so
improvising? I mean, I love laying it down in a recording studio too, but
I can't. I don't yet. It's still like very new to me, so I get a little nervous if I don't have everything completely through composed and laid out for me, but
You mean it in a live situation?
in a live situation, yes. I need to plan ahead. I'm still not quite there.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? We have a solid commitment. Contract has been verbal. I'm so excited about just like the blooming of all of us. We've all just really put ourselves up to the edge of ourselves and keep pushing that. I'm really, really happy about that.
Well, let's play another song. All right, this one is called You Said You Loved Me, But You Didn't Really Mean It.
That's right.
Yep.
Let's hear it.
You said you love me, but you never really meant it. You spent my money, but you never really needed it. You're in the corner of my eye. See you staring at my thigh. Just like that, you're about to lose your mind. Oh, lay it down. Just like that, you're about to lose your mind. Lay it down, lay it down. Got your beat up inside of me. Got your beat up inside of me. Oh, oh, oh. Got your beat up inside of me. Everybody wants a piece of me. Everybody wants a piece of me.
Making it rain, making it sprinkle, making you sweat. Twinkle, twinkle, life is my game. Smoking up Tindo, switching up lanes. Super Nintendo, life is my game. Making you sweat, making it sprinkle. Is switching up lanes, smoking up Endo, life is my game. Super Nintendo.
I said I loved you, but I wasn't really meaning it.
Nope.
You said you loved me, but I wasn't really feeling it. I spent your money, punk, I never really needed it. Paid for these titties, naked bitties, just ringing 50s, yo, I'm making it.
Jealous,
Making it.
jealous, jealous,
Making it.
jealous, jealous,
Making it.
jealous, jealous,
Making it.
jealous,
Making it.
jealous, jealous,
Making it.
Jelly.
Making it. Making it. Making it.
Bitches be jealous. Bitches be jealous. Bitches be jealous though. Jelly me, but you never really meant it. You spent my money, but you never really needed it. You're a stupid bitch. You're a stupid bitch.
Well, I love that. Dollar bills. Are you making a lot of money from these projects?
We wish.
That's why the hustle is real, and
Yeah.
it's paradise to live in paradise and to live in a way that you can actually pay your rent by playing gigs. My friend Mariela said once, I just paid for my car to get fixed by pushing air through my vocal cords.
That's amazing.
And I was like, no
I love
shit,
that. Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
very true.
Living the dream.
Plucking my G-string.
G-string and 50s though. But yeah, I mean, music serves a very reverent and sacred place in a lot of people's lives. And for that reason, sometimes money isn't a factor. And
Right.
sometimes money is a big factor. And sometimes it's somewhere in the middle. But it absolutely is a scale. And when you honor it that way, you just have to accept that whole daily bread notion. Just like hope, pray, have faith. In the musical context, in the gods of music, keep your head down, do good work, give your all. Hopefully you've put in your hours on practice so that you can ride a little bit every once in a while. But that's the real hustle. It's time consuming. But that's our craft. We sculpt time.
I was surprised when I saw the video, and it seems so produced and layered that it couldn't be performed live, but you say you play live all the time.
You do.
And you mentioned the Tiltu Club and Rosie O'Grady's.
Yes, yes.
I would love to see you at Rosie O'Grady's.
You can on Friday, May 11th.
Male.
And also Friday, June 15th.
Wow.
From 9 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Look at that.
Yeah, we
Yes.
play anywhere that has a flower in its title.
It's a good pairing with the mantis and the, yes.
What an insect that you have named your band after.
Absolutely.
I looked up that image for sure. And they're magnificent.
And highly predatory. Like they are. They are. They are. They're really quite
Quite the killers.
the killers. They really are. Yeah.
The killers they are.
Look how pretty I am. I'm
Yes.
a flower. You're dead.
I mean, even like
Great
hummingbirds,
enough.
like
Oh
large
my
birds they'll
goodness.
go after. So
Yeah. They some bad bitches though.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, you ladies are killers. Word to your mothers.
Yeah. It's a good balance in music, like to try and be beautiful, right? Through sonority and thank God to be able to play with other people, harmony.
Yes.
But there's also that other personal side. You try not to be selfish in your playing and not play for you when you're trying to play something beautiful. I play for me though when I'm getting kind of raw. You have to get your aggression out somewhere. We definitely serve the slogan, the banner of make art, not war. So if you're pissed off or you're grumpy or like some unjust, I'm going to cuss again, here it comes you guys, some unjust shit is going on in your life, how do you respond to that? And so thank God we keep it in the music studio and you put it into your sound. And that also helps propel us into areas of us, our own selves that we haven't yet journeyed through.
Yeah.
Our own final frontiers.
The genesis of the band and the direction that we're going now, kind of going back to what you're talking about playing live,
Right.
that we are kind of moving into this other, just kind of through workshopping in our performances and realizing that what people were reacting to was more of our kind of up-tempo, lighthearted, danceable things, and that we've kind of been morphing from a band that's perhaps a little bit more emo and, all the subtleties of pizzicato and things that can't really be picked up in a bar necessarily. We've been sort of doing away with those, not entirely, but just thinking of those as just kind of more album tracks. And then really going toward the stuff that's going to make people really happy and kind of put on a show much more than we were before. So I think that that's been kind of fun to explore what the live show means and kind of integrate that with the music videos and yeah.
I think
Joy.
Yes.
Joy, yes, absolutely. So I think in our new material, that fast stuff, though it is like joy, you can really hide anything behind a good beat. You know, like our new song Louis Vuitton, I love. That's just a boom, 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 boom. Like you're just gonna buy things in Ross, you know, like you're just gonna buy stuff in the grocery store. Yet that there's almost an insensitivity in a lot of the lyrics. That's like, one more shot of alcohol, second life I'm living. There's like a anger to a lot of it. Just that I think in the vivacious techno part of it is like this insensitivity and anger towards the machine and accepting that the machine is and being in the machine and just being like, fuck this, I'm in the machine, let's dance. Yeah?
Yes.
I don't know what else I was going to say. Oh, here's what I was going to say regarding my dear associate and friend and neighbor. And role model, fashion role model.
Oh my God.
Fashion. Every time I come to her house, I'm just making like a I hate you face because she looks so cute. She's just in her house. But I remember the day you go, like, especially a trained musician, like when you've seen notes all your life, especially reading them on a grand staff. When you're reading treble clef, you do that. And you can maybe play off that, but then there's nothing in front of you. And I do remember that feeling. Do you guys know Nathan Hubbard around here?
No.
He writes a lot of like experimental music, but he's like managed to get orchestras to play his experimental music. I was sitting in the room, it was called D10. It was at Palomar College, and it was their performance space. And I remember we were getting ready for the Trimaflora Collective. I'm sweating bullets because I don't know what's going on. I was like, I think I was 17. And he's also, we're just going to go around and everyone's just going to play for 10 seconds. And I felt like I was going to throw up and I was going to pass out. And like there was like some serious like health issues going on in my head. And then I like played my first note, and you learn after a while, like, you know, you go through a process of, oh, what's wrong? What are wrong notes? And how can I play like a better solo? But hopefully sooner than later, you feel, and then with your artistry, you adapt and you continue. And so that's been an amazing, amazing process.
What I like about improvisation in general, because I'm an improvisational comic.
Oh,
So
clearly.
I love the danger involved
sure.
of not having any idea what's going to come out. You know, that is such a thrill to me. I'm so addicted to it. And as a musician in a band, I've been in the same band for 10 years, and I'm never sick of it because my saxophone player is an amazing improvisationalist. He'll play a different solo on the same song every single night. I mean, and I'm just like, oh, you know, so the thrill of the unknown and the danger of it is so cool because all my favorite lessons are from mistakes. So if you don't take that chance, if you don't want to barf and get sick in class, the agony that is, oh my gosh, it's my turn to improvise, you know, but then you get through it and you're like, oh, well, that was so fun. Oh, I got to do that again, you know, and I want to do it again and again and again and again and again. All right, we've got another tune that I'd like to turn on our audience to. It is called Exomoon, and as you said, it's like exoskeleton. It's EXOMOON. So let's listen to it right now. You are listening to OrchidxMantis, and this is Exomoon.
Broken over you. When I sleep, I dream that I'm with you, with you. All my heart and soul belong to you. All my life I've waited here for you, for you. Your love is solid too. Bleeding heart, split into two hearts, breaking over you now, broken over you. How broken over you're not here and you're not you. I can't feel anything. I don't know. I'm lost in
All right. Well, that was really cool. Caitlin, tell me about Exomoon.
Well, Exomoon is unique in a couple ways. That was kind of the first song of this project, as I remember it. And it has a lot of layered string parts. The meter is very unique. It's in 7 and then it's in 6. And so it gives it these two very unique feels. And I won't speak for Isaac, but my interpretation of the song, that it is kind of about viewing somebody from kind of the perspective of orbiting them as an exomoon and having this pull toward them, but for whatever reason, not being able to be a part of their life.
Thank God for the richness of relationships.
Yes, definitely.
Indeed. So, how do we get in touch with your art and your schedule and your cassettes? My goodness. I think I know what I need to get Thomas for Christmas this year.
Yes. Well, for album needs, for cassette needs, you can find us on Bandcamp. That's orchidxmantis.bandcamp.com.
Okay.
We are on YouTube as OrchidxMantis. If you search us on YouTube and you don't find us right away, please don't be deterred if you get nothing but National Geographic videos. It might come up that way. It will ask you, did you mean OrchidxMantis? And then you can say yes, and then you can find us. Twitter, at OrchidxMantis. Instagram is the same, at OrchidxMantis. And then finally, you can find us on Facebook.com.
And
yes.
And so your live schedule is posted on your Facebook as well?
Yes. We keep that up to date with all of our performances.
It's kind of exciting right now. We're at a level, like we've been playing in a room that's like 8 by 8 for years and, and never got out. And so now we're at a place where we're literally recording like a new music video live at a band practice every single week. So if you get on it, there's something new.
Yeah, and these videos, by the way, are hilarious and marvelous.
Thank you.
And Isaac Crow not just writes the music and lays down the beats, But he is the one creating the videos, and this is new to him, which is just fascinating to me because
Yes.
he's got an incredible editing sense. And I mean, you heard me laugh out loud probably
Multiple times, yes.
50 times during the one video of you said you loved me, but you didn't really mean it. I mean, I recommend that everyone see that video when they're having a day where they need to laugh 50 times in a row because it was just magnificent. And the music is very compelling. And I'm so thrilled that you ladies came. And I tip my hat to Isaac and Harley. And I'm looking forward to seeing you live.
Thank you very much. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having
This
us.
studio is so beautiful. Thank you for
Yeah.
having us.
Well, you're
Amazing.
very welcome. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.